Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to make a table centerpiece arrangement for Christmas based on a traditional long dinner table, seating about 6 to 8 people. I think that size I'm going to make, and I'm going to make it on an oval dish that I have. You can make it on any kind of plate, or even a plastic bowl, whatever you have. I'm starting with this oval plate, a full block of the Florist foam, the Oasis floral foam, and I put that sitting that onto the plate. Since I'm making it for myself and I don't have to transport it, you can actually just start working on it straight away. In the shop we always use the Florist tape to secure it, to make sure that it will survive the transport, get it across over it, but it's going to be on this table tonight and it's not going to be transported, so there's no need to do that. First of all, start with your greenery, which are large branches. What I have here are some lovely nobles, and I'm going to cut them at a slight angle, clean that they get into the Oasis, get a good sharp knife, and have them lying as flat as possible that it's touching the table. Start with the two opposite sides, the two nice long branches. I always use a knife, which is better. If you find it very hard, you can use it with a secateurs as well. But the more you cut it, the better you get a nice cut in it, and it stays fresh. So this is going to be my total length, so I'm going to keep it narrow here. So I'm going to put some shorter pieces of the greenery on this side. And always start with your outline. So roughly set up your shape and your size, and then you can work after that. Now I've roughly set out my shape, so I'm going to get rid of the other greenery so that I can see what I can do and I can see my shape of my arrangement. So this nice oblong shape, and I'm happy with the shape there. Next is going to be my candles. The reason I put candles in next is if I put all kind of flowers in the foam, there mightn't be any more room for my candles, and because the candles are very thick, it'd be very hard to get them in there, so that's why I'm putting them in now. Traditionally Christmas, as we all know, is red and green. I'm going for red, purples, greens and oranges. Gives it that little bit more funky modern look for your Christmas table. Because I'm doing slightly modern, I'm not going to line up the 3 candles perfectly in the center. I'm going to slightly group them irregular, just to create a little bit of interest. Try and get your candles perfectly straight into your foam the first time you put them in. Because if you have them in the foam and then you have to start maneuvering them around, it'd be very hard to keep them straight. And again, always keep a little bit of distance between your candles, that when they light, they won't melt each other too much. So that's your basically shape set out. I've got some beautiful aspidistra leaf. I love using those, and I'm going to use some of them in this arrangement. Again, a very strong foliage. You can buy this from any good flower shop. Cut it with a sharp knife and emphasize the length with that a little bit, so one on either side. So you now have to be careful where you can position it, because your candles are in there as well. On the sides they would be too big, so what I'm doing here is I'm looping them right like that, and this is your leaf. I'm looping them, having the point, sticking it through the point, and just positioning it in there. So you create that nice little loop in your display here. I'm going to put another one there, trying to put it right beside it. So I'm going to do it like that, hold that stem there, and sticking it through the end. These two together, side by side, will give a nice bit of interest. In order to balance the arrangement, I'm going to go on the opposite side with the same again. So now I'm going to put one of them here on this side, in the same way. This will give you the idea. So you have a long arrangement. This is your main length. Your 2 lines are, if you look at it from the top, you'll see your 2 big aspidistra leaves are setting out the length. And then as a diagonal across, you have your 3 rolled up leaves, which is kind of a very nice base. It's always very important, even though it's a very traditional shape, by doing this little bit of diagonal line in it, it's a very easy way to make it look very modern. Next, I'm using some ruscus. Another greenery that I love using purely because it is a different texture and it is very, very strong, and it has that dark green glossy quality that I think works so well with Christmas. Always remember, with any greenery and flower you use, that you can light your candle. So you don't want to have your greenery here and then light your candle, so you won't be able to light your candle. That's a very important thing to keep in mind. Before I start with my flowers, I'm trying to cover about 75% of my foam, that when I have my flowers in, that I don't have to go in between my flowers afterwards to cover the last of the foam. So that's you don't cover it completely, because then you don't have room for the flowers, but you'll have about 75% of it covered. Some pieces of the Nobles go in there. Again, clean some of the needles that you can easily stick it into your flower foam. Turn it around that you don't end up with a beautiful arrangement on one side and you forget to work on the other side. That's a very important tip that a lot of people forget. And by the time you have your greenery finished, it should be an interesting display. I always say, if it is up to the flowers to make it interesting, you've done something wrong. At any stage, you should be able to stop and say, it is actually an interesting display and I wouldn't mind just leaving it like this. But because we like a little bit of over the top at Christmas, we'll keep going. Next, I'm going to work on some beautiful, interesting stipa grasses here. Nice orange grasses. I think in combination with the reds and the purples, it gives a really nice look. And you'll see this one is going on my kitchen table, and it's a natural brown wooden table, and the orange of this grass will pick up beautifully on the wooden table. The next flower I'm going to use here is my protea. It's the Newton's protea. It's a beautiful South African flower, somewhere between red and orange, and it kind of picks up all the colours from that. What doesn't really last is the foliage. Even though it's lovely, very quickly that goes green. The flower will last for a long time. So I'm normally quite ruthless and just strip off all the foliage and use just the flower, because I have other greenery in it that will last. Again, when you position these, keep your design in mind. So your full length, your long oval arrangement, your diagonal here with your leaves. So I'm going to cross that with my protea. So that means my protea is going in the opposite length. So the first one is going right here, quite low down to the table. It's very important that it almost touches the table. And you go into the center, go a little bit higher, cut it with a sharp knife. And then the third one can go right here beside it, closer to the center. And then the other two can go on the other side, opposite there. It's one of my favorite flowers, and I love it around Christmas time. Again, as I said earlier, it has that combination of beautiful deep red in it with touches of orange in it. To make it a little bit exotic, I thought today I'm going to use some beautiful Vanda orchids. Vanda orchids are quite expensive flowers. However, if you realize how long they will last you easily 3 weeks. They come in a tube if you buy them from your florist. And rather than taking them out in the flower foam, I'm going to use the whole tube inside here. So you can water this at any stage and they will last much, much longer. So I'm using the tube as if it is one of the stems. I'm pushing it into the foam and it stays in position like that. Again, the same with the other one. And I'm going to place that, I think I'm going to place that on this side, beside it. To balance it on the other side, I'm going to use my orange Vanda orchids. This is a miniature variety, but it's also a Vanda. I'm going to put them opposite there. You have to make sure that your tube is always standing up like that and not in the foam like that, because it will start leaking eventually. So that's something you have to keep an eye on. Just cut these a little bit shorter. I think it's already quite a dramatic, colourful piece. Throughout the month of December, I'm never far away from my box of cones and all dried elements, because every piece I make has some of them in it. It just make it look Christmas immediately. Our hot glue gun is an amazing, easy tool. Just get the glue on it, position them onto the green, and it glues onto the green, glues onto the bowl. You can take it off your bowl afterwards. So the glue on it and just sit it in there. Hold it there for a second, until the glue gets hard. There you go. No Christmas table center is complete without a little bit of holly berry. And often we can't get holly berry. And that's not uncommon. So what I have here is a Hypericum berry. The Hypericum berry, you can buy that from any florist. It's beautiful. It's a little bit darker red. And it lasts for a long time. And I love using that at Christmas as well. So again, the small little details in between the green gives you that feeling of your holly berry. And you put it in at different heights. Some of them a little bit deeper, some of them a bit further out. Gives it a little bit of depth in your arrangement and a little bit of interest as well. And then the same on the other side. Last, I'm going to add on some of my dried limes. Very easy with your hot glue gun. So there you go. That's the end result of your table center. It's a long oval arrangement for in the center of a long table with a lot of Christmas colors, but also a little bit more modern by the purples, the oranges, in combination with the reds, and also by using different candles, two different candles, the purples and the red, will give it a slightly more modern feel as well. Hope you enjoyed this video of this table center arrangement, and I really hope that you get started yourself. Be creative, try something different. Don't be afraid, you can't do it wrong. Just use the nice natural materials. As you can see, I've used very little of the typical glitter Christmas, because I think if you have nice greenery, some nice flowers, some cones and some candles, you don't need a lot more. If you like the videos, subscribe to our channel. Love to see you back. Leave a comment, let us know, and if you want to see more of Christmas, have a look at the link here and you'll find other videos there. Happy Christmas. See you soon.